Welcome to Deep Cuff Channel. Ukrainian war continues at full speed. Heroic Ukrainian army continues to strike critical targets belonging to Russian troops. Vladimir Putin's army uses interesting ways to solve its problems at the front. Claims made by British intelligence sources are extremely interesting. Latest incident in the Kherson region attracted the attention of the world public opinion. Missiles used by the Russian army in the war surprised those who saw it. In the very near future, F-15 and F-16 warplanes may enter the Ukrainian inventory. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg gave very important information about the course of the war. Kantefx, produced locally and nationally by Turkey, dominate the skies of Ukraine. Great war between Ukraine and Russia attracts the attention of the whole world. In this context, Mariupol Mayor Ivan Fedorov reported in a Telegram post that the Ukrainian army blew up a large ammunition depot belonging to the Russian army in the Zaporizhzhia region. It was also stated that this attack was carried out by the Ukrainian missile and artillery units, and the attack is still continuing. Meanwhile, the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine announced that the Ukrainian soldiers serving in the Donetsk region carried out an operation with mortars and ground troops against the Russian troops. Sharing the details of the attack, the service on duty stated that the unmanned aerial vehicles first determined the location of the command center and observation points where the Russian troops were deployed. Then, the Ukrainian soldiers, who communicated with unmanned aerial vehicles, transmitted the information directly to the air artillery, and in the ensuing attack, the command centers and observation points belonging to the Russians were hit. It was stated that a total of 3 Russian soldiers affected by the high explosive bombs used in the attacks were neutralized. According to the latest military report of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Russia lost 560 soldiers, 2 tanks, 4 armored combat vehicles, 1 artillery system, and 1 unmanned aerial vehicle in just 24 hours. Fact that all these losses were experienced in different regions is a testament to the all-round success of the Ukrainian army. Russian troops, which suffered great damage from the attacks of the Ukrainian army, are trying to respond quickly by taking action. According to the breaking news, Russian forces carried out 11 missile strikes and 7 air strikes, as well as more than 50 attacks using multiple launch rocket systems. Most of the Russian attacks take place in the Kupiansk, Chuiv, Bylenk, Komishuvaca and Kushuhum regions. These regions are mostly located in the north and northeast. Meanwhile, Dnipro Mayor Boris Filatov announced that Russian attacks in the Dnipro region have increased in the last few hours. Making a statement to the press on the subject, Boris Filatov said, according to preliminary determinations, Russia has carried out many missile attacks in this region. We think that their main target is our infrastructure. Our investigations continue. Local sources state that air raid sirens have been sounding since 2338 in the city of Dnipro. In addition to this region, Russia is trying to organize attacks on the southern city of Kherson. According to military analysts and local reports, Russia carried out a total of 60 attacks in the Kherson region in just one day. Main target of the Russian attacks is thought to be the supply lines of the Ukrainian army. With its attacks on these supply lines, Russia hopes to thwart the Ukrainian army's attack on the Crimea. But we can expect this strategy to be largely successful, as Russia has almost exhausted all its missiles. Russian forces have begun removing nuclear warheads from obsolete cruise missiles to fire at targets in Ukraine, according to the latest Western assessment, which points to Moscow's dwindling weapons stockpiles. Making a statement on the subject, British intelligence stated that these researches were based on missile samples they received from the front. Defense officials said the missiles used would cause little damage and that the main purpose of this strategy could be used by Moscow as a bait to deflect Ukraine's air defenses. Ukraine's defense minister Alexei Reznikov said Russia used an estimated 80% of its modern missiles, and only 13% of the pre-war ground-launched Iskander missiles remained. This rate points to serious problems for a country like Russia. Currently, it is known that the Russian army has many missiles, such as Caliber, A-55 or its derivatives. However, the number of these missiles appears to be 85% less than in the pre-war period. We say in almost every video that Russia's largest remaining inventory is the anti-aircraft S-300 and S-400. By using these systems for offensive purposes, Russia actually started to risk its defense. Because the missiles of these systems have started to run out and Russia seems to be preparing its own demise unintentionally. Before the war, Russia was counted among the countries that made the best air defense system. However, at this point, we see that the Russian army is not as good as it seems. Especially the weakening of Russian air defense, which is currently encountered, gives hope for Ukrainian aviation. In this context, the Ukrainian Air Force does not hide its interest in the planes used by Western countries. Ukrainian Air Force spokesperson Yuri Init made new statements on the subject. According to Init, Ukraine needs much more air defense systems to protect the sky. At the same time, Init stated that it needed warplanes with a wide range of weapons, such as F-15 and F-16 warplanes. This equipment will allow the Ukrainian army to quickly seize all Russian-controlled areas. Yuri Init said, unfortunately, NASIMS and IRIS-T systems that are working very effectively on the front are unfortunately limited in number. Today we only have one IRIS-T system and two NASIMS batteries. I would also love to have such a wide range of weapons in the Air Force because it will enable us to quickly realize all our dreams, especially the liberation of our lands. While Init made a statement, Turkey winked at the Ukrainian government by introducing its newest fighter jet. Turkey's fighter jet intent has been known for years, but photos of the prototype under development have come off the assembly line for the first time. Turkey's TFX project first appeared in 2010. Project became much more important for Turkey 2 years ago. Because after Turkey was removed from the F-35 fighter jet program, it wanted to quickly close the gap in its air force. Ankara stepped up the TFX project as there was no fifth-generation fighter jet to replace Turkey's F-16 fleet. At the same time, Turkey was aware that its dependence on the United States or its other partners would increase over time as it draws the plane. For this reason, Turkey, like India, has taken steps to encourage domestic production. In addition, Turkey's engine development partnership with Ukraine continues. Some military analysts think that if the Ukraine-Russia war continues, the TFX fighter may experience its first combat experience on Ukrainian soil. Of course, no one wants the war to prolong and spread to wider areas. In this context, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg made new statements. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that the best way to increase the chances of a peaceful end to the war in Ukraine is to support Ukraine. Speaking at a press conference in Brussels, Stoltenberg said, "Most wars end with negotiations. But what happens at the negotiating table depends on what happens on the battlefield. Therefore, the best way to increase the chances of a peaceful solution is to support Ukraine. NATO will continue to stand by Ukraine as long as necessary. We will not take a step back," he said. Victory to Ukraine. We will continue to monitor the world and especially Ukraine. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.